Why is crypto falling down today? Bitcoin's under $92,000. We were promised a bull run this quarter, but we are below 92,000. We're actually falling down right now. Something very important just happened, something that a lot of people have been waiting for, myself included. And we also have a lot of weakness in traditional markets. The NASDAQ, the S&P 500 are down like 1% today. This is after they were up about 0.5% or so in the pre-market. We'll talk about why this is. We'll also be going through some of the things that investors are watching this week that are really important. So if you don't mind, hit subscribe so you can see future videos just like this. I'm going to keep this video short, but I do have to roll the disclaimer real fast. Just a reminder, this is not financial advice. This is not legal advice. Do your own research. I'm never going to reach out to you either in the comment section or through any other means to try to get you to invest in something that I'm investing in or to send me crypto. Some links underneath the video are affiliate links. I may earn a commission, but this is at no extra cost to you. Of course, do your own due diligence. By the way, there are a lot of people getting kicked off YouTube. I've been seeing this happening more and more. So if you want to join me on Telegram, I posted an update about a trade earlier today, and it's getting close to being really relevant. So if you want to check that out, there's a link to my Telegram underneath the video. And if you want to start trading using leverage, you can check out BYDeFi. We just finished a campaign where we gave away $13,000 in Bitcoin. And now we're doing this deposit bonus for new people using my link. And then we're going to do more of these trading competitions in the future. It's not even really a competition, just basically the more you trade, the more you get. So if you want to sign up now, get the deposit bonus, and then the more you deposit, the more you get. You can get used to the platform and start trading because we are at a very key level. Okay, now what exactly is happening? Well, Bitcoin's falling under that $92,000 mark. You can see this is a new low. We have not seen anything this low since April, maybe May. And we are finally doing what a lot of people have been waiting for, which is filling the CME gap. A couple weeks ago, I said we had a CME gap at 92,000 and 97,000. These fill about 90% of the time. This is just basically a gap that happens over the weekend. Let's say we close at 92 and then we open back up and we're at 94 or something like that. There's a gap, and typically that gets filled when the market's opened. We've talked about in previous videos. You can look it up to see more info, but these almost always get filled. So we just got filled, right? We're just under 90,000 or 92,000. I've said this could happen, and we could even go a little bit lower because a lot of people think there's going to be a bounce right here. We actually saw a little bit of a bounce, like a $500 bounce right after this happened, but a lot of people think that, we're going to see a big bounce right after this, but a lot of the time the market works in mysterious ways. If people think the market's going to bounce at a certain level, inevitably it falls down. So right now, let's update this. We have had a decent amount of liquidations today. Over the last hour, $102 million liquidated. I'm sure a lot of people have stop losses right around this $91,800 mark, let's say. A lot of shorts got liquidated today too. So there's definitely a lot of carnage both ways. If we look at the liquidation heat map though, or the liquidation map, there are a lot more shorts that would get liquidated if we move up, but you can see like a lot of longs would get liquidated around $91,000 or so. So don't be surprised if we see another $1,000 move down, liquidations happen, and then we move back up, assuming we do move back up. Now, why is the traditional market down so much? Why is Bitcoin? Oh, well, Bitcoin, like I said, filling the CME gap, but it's not just that. People are turning a little bit more risk off. There's been a lot of news about stimulus, which in theory should pump up markets, but it also is causing some people to worry about inflation. Right? There have been, maybe some rumors going around that inflation's getting worse. The Fed has been worried about inflation as well. They've talked about it more and have been a little bit more hawkish instead of dovish recently. This started when Jerome Powell had said that they are far from 100% certain that they're going to cut at the next rate meeting. Now the odds have flipped. So last week we had about a 60% probability that we're going to see a rate cut. Now we have something like a 37% chance. So very now almost getting unlikely right? Very unlikely that we're going to see a rate cut in the next meeting, which is causing some people concern, right? We thought the Fed's going to aggressively lower rates. This is going to be really good for markets. This is going to cause people to go more risk on, but now that's not quite as likely. Now, of course, Jerome Powell might be out of the Fed next year. So some people have that kind of in their mind thinking, well, we just have to get through this time, but still it will affect markets in the short term. We also have Nvidia, which has earnings in just 2 days. And this really obviously is carrying the stock market's the largest weighting for almost every indice. So some people are a little bit cautious going into Nvidia earnings because they normally beat, but they really have to beat strong for the market to be happy about it. And there are a lot of layoffs as well. Last couple of days, we got news of Verizon announcing 15 to 20,000 layoffs. This has been happening with more and more companies recently. So with the unemployment report coming later this week, that's coming on Thursday. This is a delayed report from September. People are a little bit cautious. So if the unemployment report comes in and unemployment's a little bit worse than expected, but not terrible, that might lead the Fed to cut rates a little bit more aggressively, which can cause the market to jump up. Obviously, if unemployment is too high, right? If it's just carnage, and so many layoffs have happened, then the market won't like that either. If the unemployment rate is too low, then people really think that the Fed won't have to cut rates because they're more cautious about inflation than they are about jobs in general, which would kind of be a big switch from how they've been talking more recently. So those are the main reasons I think we're down today, right? For Bitcoin, the CME gap is very important. We also have had a flip over the last couple days in interest rate expectations. Nvidia earnings are coming up here soon, and we have economic data later this week. Now, keep in mind that the S&P 500 is still not too far from the very peak. Right? Let's look at VOO, which is just the S&P 500. It's down 3.3%, maybe a little bit more from the absolute peak. It's not super concerning yet. Right? This is barely a blip on the S&P 500's radar. Same thing with QQQ. It might be down 5%. Bitcoin, on the other hand, down much more, over 25% from the high, and approaching 30%, I believe. But this is a big week for Bitcoin, with it closing underneath the 50-week moving average. A lot of people are saying that we have to get confirmation that we're going to go back up significantly, close above 100,000, close above the 50-week moving average, close above after we had that death cross too, because a death cross usually is bullish. It usually marks a bottom, but it also can just lead to more red if we go into a bear market. Now, I gave my Bitcoin accumulation plan, my leverage plan, and what I'm doing with other assets too in a video over the weekend. I labeled it something really easy to look up to as like my plan for a Bitcoin bear market or something like that. To be clear, I will be accumulating, right? If we go down, I will keep buying. I realize that a lot of people are in pain. A lot of people are looking at this thing. How much farther can we go down, right? If this is the bear market, we could go down further, to be clear. But keep in mind, like I said, we've already fallen down 27%. This is fairly regular. Even in a bull market, we've fallen down. Here you can see 31%. Back in 2024, we fell down 32.5%. So people will point this out if we continue moving back up. Let's say we break out and we go to new all-time highs. People will say this is the most obvious buying point that you could have, right? We went down below the 50-week moving average. We fell down about the same that we had the last couple times. We had a death cross, but at this moment, we don't know which way it's going to go, right? We could go back into a bear market, and everyone that's saying that that's not possible is wrong, right? It's just a question of probabilities. The only thing is, the only thing you have to ask yourself is, how much farther are we going to go down? Can you time it properly? And where is Bitcoin going to be in 2, 3, 4 years? So I don't know how far we're going to go down, but we've gone up less, and it seems like there's less leverage in the market than what we've seen in the past, and less stupidity in the market than what we've seen in previous cycles. So I don't personally think we're going to go down 70, 75% like we've seen in the past. Maybe we go down 50%, 60%. That's if the general markets go down too. Like, I don't see Bitcoin going down 55% if the Nasdaq's hitting all-time highs. But let's say we go down 50%. Okay, that's $63,000 Bitcoin. We're already halfway there from the peak to $63,000 Bitcoin. Again, I'm just throwing out numbers just to make a point here. I don't know when we're going to bottom, and I don't want to wait to buy until we hit the exact bottom, because there's no way of knowing. Everyone wants to say, well, why don't you just sell it and then buy back? Because we don't know if we're going to go into a bear market. To be clear, it's all probabilities. And some of us still have a lot of gains, so we'd have to pay taxes and then try to buy back. So really, your break-even point might be like 80,000 or 78,000 or something like that, from where we are right now for a lot of people. So I'm not trying to play that game. I'll just dollar cost average if we continue falling down, but I do think there's a decent chance that we see a jump. I mean, even if you're thinking this is a bear market, last time we saw a death cross was back in like 2022. We saw a death cross right here, and it marked a local bottom actually for Bitcoin around like 34,000, and then we actually went up to 48. So we actually saw a pretty good relief rally, and then we went back down into a bear market. But even if you think there's going to be a bear market, like, we've fallen down pretty aggressively. So I know there are some people that are holding, waiting to maybe sell some positions, but yeah, personally, I don't love to sell when we're down 27% in a very short period of time. Let me know your thoughts though underneath the video. It is important to have high quality assets. Like, my bag is mostly Bitcoin. I've talked about that a lot, but it definitely probably feels worse if you're 60% altcoins, 80% altcoins, or you're 70% leverage or something like that. I always talk about using a small amount of leverage in my portfolio, but if you want more information on that, you can again watch that video where I talk about what I'm going to be doing if we go into a bear market. Again, I think there's a decent shot that we bounce. If you do want to trade crypto, like I said, big deposit event going right now on BYDeFi. Look at the link tree. It's the second link down in the link tree. There's also a link to BTCC. A lot of people love trading on that platform as well. And we have some deposit events going on right now too. Or yeah, I think it's we have a 10% deposit event going. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll see you all soon.